Hello there. It's your girl Valerie Mason Chase again. And listen, I got this tall drink of water here. That's why I almost messed up my words. Yeah, that's this brother here make me forget my whole name right here. So anywho, I got my cookie man with me this evening. Hello, you guys.
For 60 minutes, because the Knicks will be on. Got a reminder.
Yes, we had a whole discussion about that before we went on the air. So yes, we will be stopping at 7 p.m. I just want to thank you all for tuning in and joining us on this evening. Hey, Nicole, and anyone now or later,
Hey, Nick.
if you haven't already done so, I invite you to subscribe on the YouTube channel. And so listen, here's the thing. What are we going to talk about tonight, baby?
Healthy relationships?
Yes.
I had to think for a minute.
He remembered. Hey, Nene. I wanted to talk about healthy relationships, okay? Here's why. The dysfunctional and toxic relationships seem to get all of the airplay. There doesn't seem to be much out there talking about healthy relationships and how to... Hey, Michael Fleming from the VA. Hey, brother, so good to see you. Hey, Jackie. All those toxic, dysfunctional relationships, you hear about them all the time. And we don't hear much about healthy relationships. We don't hear much about how to navigate when you have challenges and to stay in the relationship. Because sometimes, honey, I find that at the first sign of trouble, people want to cut and run.
It's easy to run.
Yeah,
I know it's easy to run.
It may
Stay there and
be.
fight.
Yeah, it may be easy to run, but you got to consider, where are you running to, and what are you running into, and who are you going to be running into? Sometimes the better option is to stay right where you are. Hey, Crystal. Hey, Mona. Thank you guys for tuning in. And I'd like to have our broadcast to be as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, I want to ask you all who are watching, what does a healthy relationship look like to you? And my glasses are already fogging up. You see, I'm sweating. I want to turn on the fan, but the cookie man is cold.
I'm already, listen.
Yeah, he's cold.
You can turn it on intermittently.
I can? It'll be all right?
For a minute. When I give you the knee, you have to come on.
Listen, you see your girl's eyeglasses fogging up. I am hot. Listen. These hot flashes ain't no joke. I think I'm gonna go down in the Guinness Book of World Records for the woman who had hot flashes for more years. No, I need it here, baby. I'll turn towards that wall. Okay. I've been having hot flashes since when? Since 2009. That's a long time. Maybe they'll stop one of these days. But anywho, TMI. So I want to bring on some couples that we are going to have on tonight, who are going to talk about healthy relationships. Why? Because from my perspective, they have one. So I'm going to bring on Rock and Toya Davis, and they were here with us last week. Give a shout out. Say hi to Rock and Toya Davis, everyone.
I was really enjoying the intro music.
Yeah. Oh, you liked it?
Yes, it was really good.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Brother. So what would you like to share about yourselves with our viewers?
What would I like to share about ourselves? What you want to share?
Well, it is on the screen. We're the owners of Rockland Life Coach, Yumdacity Catering, Chef, and Web Poet Designs, which is digital
entrepreneurs.
So we're both entrepreneurs. We both work.
Entrepreneurs who make money.
Yes.
Yeah.
We both work at home. We work at home, which is great. And we're partners for life.
We work at home sometimes.
Yeah, most of the time.
Sometimes you got to get out the house.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to bring on another dynamic couple. This couple was with us last year. What do you say, Rock? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I said, hey, I'm Jackie.
Okay. This couple was with us last year, I believe. Or it might have been the year before. But anywho, I am going to bring on none other than James and Elaine McArthur.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. And again, Elaine and James, from my perspective, have a healthy relationship. And Elaine is my cousin. Well,
Yes.
she's Frank's cousin, so that makes her mine too.
Mhm.
I
Yes.
can name everybody, okay?
Yes.
So we all family. So James and Elaine, what would you like to share with our viewers about yourselves?
Well, I'm a retired New York City correctional officer. I've been retired for almost 40 years now.
Wait a minute. I gotta say, wait.
I mean, let's say, I'm sorry. I really overdid it. I'm gonna say 20 years. I'll give it 20 years.
It has been at least that long.
20
Wow.
years. Yeah, and then and that's about it. I'm not working, so I'm enjoying retirement. I'm enjoying retirement.
It's funny you talk about that because I still get to New York papers. So I was recently reading this morning about the staffing shortages in Rikers over the last couple of years, and the recruiting classes are getting smaller and smaller. And I thought about you working there. I said, that's a tough, because what caught my eye was they had to do 20 years to qualify for a pension or something like that, or for a pension.
Exactly.
And I said, how many COs in Rikers? Well, I mean, you don't have to work the whole 20, but still, after 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you ready to get out of there because the place is crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, but life is a lot different. Life is a lot different from when I was working there. The changes that's been going on over there. The administration, the city. They really want to close down Rikers Island. If you're really listening to it, they want to make it into part of the airport, LaGuardia Airport, but nobody really knows that. But that's their main goal. Wow. And then to make smaller jails. So if they're making smaller jails, what did they tell you? They're making less arrests. So that's how it is over there.
Well, if they're making less arrests, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
No, because that means that people are committing fewer crimes.
No, they didn't.
They don't mean that.
No,
they just didn't get caught.
They're still committing crime, and it's only going to get worse though, because you got to understand, Val, that they just passed that new law in New York City, is the marijuana law, where you can smoke marijuana openly now. So these, all the different things that's going on, and then these people that are bringing it from other countries, the asylum people, they're committing more and more crimes too. So, and then mental health is a big thing too, It
is. It really is.
Yeah. So I expect it to go up. So I don't know how they're going to deal with it, but I'm sure they got a plan. Yeah,
but I know whatever it is, I know you glad you up out of there.
Oh yes, listen, I enjoy my retirement life. Believe me, I really do. I'm really enjoying it. Thank God I was blessed. I was truly blessed to be put in a position whereas we don't have to struggle, to make ends meet or anything like that. Make some good choices in life and make some great decisions. So we're doing pretty good.
Okay, Elaine.
Fantastic, Elaine. Go ahead, sis.
So I am a 60-year-old woman, child of God, and I just have to put that first because I'm just so striving to stay in His will, right? I am a laboratory technologist. I'm a nutritionist, and I'm also a health coach. I love to promote healthy eating, healthy nutrition, working out, especially for women over 50. And I just know that's my calling. That's what I love to do. That's what I've been doing for the past several years. And I just have a wonderful relationship with every member of my family. I'm thankful to say that. And God is just good. God is just extremely good. I just have to say that over and over again. And He has blessed us tremendously.
I try to.
Yeah.
All through our lives.
Praise God. Praise God. Well, after we're finished tonight, I want to get in touch with you because I'm having an episode upcoming on women's health. So I may, as the kids say, hit you up about being on it. Right?
I guess.
All right.
Is that going to be a 2-hour show? Because she can do a 2-hour show on women's health.
Well, listen, if I have to do a part 2 of that, we'll do a part 2 of that as well. So I want to thank Reginald and Leonard. Thank you guys for showing back up again. I appreciate you.
Tanya.
I got to lower my voice.
Thank you. I'm glad you like the shirt.
Okay.
Well, what do you say about the shirt? Oh, hey Toya. Oh, wait a minute. What am I saying? What did I miss?
Someone there said they like the
Said
shirt.
she loved the
Not to be Kanye.
Huh?
I said I try every day not to be Kanye.
All right. So before we get into any questions or anything, I always like to start with love story. In fact, when I am counseling couples, that's the first session. I like to always start at the place of love where you met, all of that. So talk to me about your love story and what drew you to each other. A little bit about your journey.
I'll let her tell it.
I'll
let her tell her version.
We were both a part of a Facebook group. We didn't know each other at the time. And
shout out to Playtime.
Yes, Playtime. And I was volunteering as a chef to bring food to a give back event where we had a baby shower for less fortunate mothers, and everyone chipped in, gifts, money, whatever that they might need at a women's shelter. And I decided to cook. So I, lay out my food and everything, and I hear someone say, "Who made this chicken?" So I'm like, very proud of my food. So I'm like, "I did," and he's like, I was like, "Why?" And he said, "No, it's really good." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
So the thing was, it may be minuscule to a lot of people, but she made what kind
buffalo
of
wings.
Buffalo wing chicken, right? And it was drowned in this sauce. So, but when you bit it, it was still crunchy. Think about that. It's drowning in the sauce, but it's crunchy. I was like, do that. I don't know nothing about cooking, but I never tasted that before. And I thought it was amazing, and I was just like, man. So we had switched numbers at the time. I was in a relationship, so I wasn't trying to holler. I was, more or less like, I want some more of this chicken. I want a pan.
Yeah.
And that's how it started.
And that's how we met.
That's how we met initially.
Yeah. And then we started seeing each other around other friends' events and things like that. And, the more we spoke, the more we hung around each other, I just fell in love with his character over time.
She wanted my body.
No.
And she had asked me to be an ambassador, a Brooklyn ambassador for our group. She was the ambassador, and at the time my relationship was over. And again, I don't cook at all. No, nothing. And she asked, she had asked me to be a Brooklyn ambassador, and I said no.
And the reason why I was asking him was because I figured we are both single, we're both attractive people. He can bring the ladies, I can bring the men, and we would have a great turnout. He turned me down 3 times until
she offered to cook.
I said, "Listen, I'll cook you 3 times a week. For 3 months, you just, become the ambassador. Yeah. And then if you don't like it, then
sold.
That's it."
She was sold.
And from that time on,
been together ever since. Like they say, the rest is history, right?
Yes.
The rest is history. Food definitely does lead to marriage.
Well, before Elaine and Jimmy, I just want to say our third couple who was to be with us this evening could not be here because the wife's mother passed away. So those of you who can get a prayer through, pray for her and her family as they go through this time of bereavement.
Definitely.
Okay, Elaine and Jimmy.
So we grew up on the same block. We lived on the same block. Actually, I moved on Union Street first, and then Jimmy and his family moved on the block second. He liked me initially.
I love that. I'm glad to tell you.
But I didn't. I mean, he was a friend. I was dating somebody else at the time, and
she gave me a hard time.
And I didn't really care for him. I didn't like him really, but I knew that he liked me. And he was trying to pursue me very often, and I would always push him away. But I was friends with his older sister, so that's kind of like too how I like interacted with him by hanging out with his older sister. But yeah, he pursued me. Me and the other guy had broke up, and then he pursued me even more.
No,
but
I was at a birthday party.
But well, let me get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
So we had broke up. Me and the other guy had broke up, and he pursued me even more. And then I think his family moved off the block. Actually, we both moved off the block. And then some friends of mine gave me a birthday party, a surprise birthday party. And lo and behold, he came with another girl, actually. So when he came with another girl, I was like, wait, hold up. Now, mind you, I don't like him, right? He came with another girl, and I was like, wait, what is going on? But then my eyes kind of like opened up. You know, some jealousy creeped in. And that's he kind of like sparked my interest. But I didn't like him that way because I thought he was like a ladies' man. You know, he portrayed himself. A player. He portrayed himself as a ladies' man.
But I was a player.
However, when I got to know him, total opposite. He was the total opposite. And definitely a clear-cut case of don't judge a book by its cover, right? So when I finally got to know him, such a caring and warm heart, and we just clicked right then and there.
Yeah, she kind of forgot the part that her and her girlfriends threatened the girl that I was at the party with and told me if I didn't take her home right then and there, it was going to be a problem. So after I took the girl home and then I came back to the party.
All right, now.
She said, let's go outside for a minute in the hallway. So we went outside in the hallway, and then she told me, she said, from this day forward, you my man.
I believe it. I believe it.
From this day forward, you my man.
I believe it.
And I want to see other women, I don't want to do nothing else. Oh my God. And that was 45 years ago.
There you go.
When you mentioned Union Street, was that over there where when y'all had the house with Miss Thompson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yup. That block, Frank. Yup. Yeah. Jimmy lived on the next block. Yep. Long ago.
Okay,
yeah, I loved it from day one. You know, it was no question.
I love that. Yeah, I love listening to people's love stories, you know, because everybody's got a love story on how they met, what attracted you, what transpired in the early days of your relationship. And I'm just always fascinated by people's love story, because you can't tell just from looking at folk. I mean, looking at Lynn and Jimmy, you wouldn't realize that they met 45 years ago.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We can't believe it either.
Yeah, well, I believe it.
We 4 or
I believe it.
Can't believe it stuff.
We 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We're new.
Don't worry. We got a long time to go. That's good. If we love each other, it's cool, bro.
Yeah.
You got the right partner. If God has blessed you with the right partner, it's easy street, bro.
Absolutely.
There you go. There you go.
Our last picks wasn't all that.
You know what?
You have children? You have children? You have children?
Yes, separately, but yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Her last picks wasn't all that.
Neither were yours.
Oh my goodness. So I want to talk about a little bit about communication. Because, you know, you hear so much about how important it is. It's the cornerstone of relationships. So I'm wondering if you guys can share when you may have navigated some challenges in your own communication, and what strategies did you use to help improve it?
Well, you know, our communication is really good. Honestly, stemming from my last relationship, she was more like a test kit, and because in my last relationship, you know, I would be like apples, 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 and in return she heard oranges, and I couldn't understand that. So I knew, like, okay, I'm clearly working on my, you know, my communication. And so the first thing that I did before me and Toya got together was I wanted to walk into our relationship with full honesty about who I am, where I want to go, and what I want for the both of us. And so being that I was really clear cut about that, and I have not wavered, I'm very on, you know, on the same track. And then it has allowed us to, you know, have great communication where we, you know, we don't question each other. We came in the door, you know, knowing that this is exactly what we want to be. We want it to be have great communication, because that is definitely the main problem with a lot of relationships today.
Yeah. You know, we were friends first. You know, like he said, he, you know, had a relationship when we first met, and then when he broke up, he friend zoned me. And I was like, what? How you gonna friend zone me? But he told me, he was very honest and upfront, and he was basically like, I just need a friend. Like, I just want a friend. I don't want a girlfriend. I don't want to have sex with you or anything. He's like, I just need a friend. And I said, okay.
Why?
Because you need
God was working on me.
Yes. Because God was working on me too. I had a previous horrible relationship, stalker, everything. So we were both working on us, and we were very honest up front. So the honesty and the friendship just carried us right into our relationship and into our marriage, and it pretty much stayed that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good to hear that.
Yeah.
Good to hear that. God is always working. That's the truth.
Totally agree.
With us, we were friends for a few years, and then when we got involved with each other, you know, as young adults, you know, you have challenges as young adults, you know, of course, you know, the devil's always working, you know, and he's constantly working in your relationship. But the thing is with us, we talk to each other, and we love each other. I mean, we truly love each other. And I mean, it's like we were friends first, and as friends, you go into, and then you go into the relationship and everything like that. Once you go into the relationship, it's just pure love for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, communication is definitely important. I know in the beginning, you know, you would hear that from our seniors, you know, in our family communication, but you don't really understand the true essence and the true meaning of communication in a relationship. You know, for me, I tend to, I'm the introvert and he's the extrovert.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to internalize stuff first before I communicate it. I have to think about it. Was it me who said something? Was it me who, you know, how can I check myself? How can I improve myself? And then I will communicate that, you know, to Jimmy. Jimmy is definitely he'll communicate straight out the gate. Me, I'm going to retreat.
Yeah.
I got to think about it. I got to process it. And then I will, you know, communicate. But if we didn't have that communication basis, we would be definitely not sitting here today. You know, for sure.
Yeah.
On that note,
we would. We would, because I would make it happen. That's how much I love my wife.
Yeah, I get that. And you know, I have to say, Frank and I's communication has gotten better over the years. Because in the early part of our relationship, when we first got married, neither one of us knew about communication, not worth a hill of beans. And we would talk at each other. We would talk around things, but we would never really talk straight and head on. I would have to say now the communication has vastly improved to the point where we can actually talk about anything.
Yeah, actually, that's what I was trying to say. Something. You thought I was going to go to the next question?
I did.
See, there you go.
I can't need him underneath the table.
We have a topic we're talking about. I wanted to give a little input before I went to the next question.
Oh, go ahead, baby.
But see, now I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But that for communication, one of the biggest challenges for me was receiving what was being said, understanding what was being said, and then it was then being able to kind of respond, because I would hear Val talking, and all I'm hearing in my head is what I want to say, but I don't even understand first what she's already talking about.
Yeah.
But I got an answer. I got something to say. So those are one of my biggest challenges, is hearing and understanding. And like Elaine said, kind of waiting, kind of asking yourself, okay, what did you really hear? Which I do better now. How do you respond to it? And another big thing is when you do something, being able to communicate, hey, I'm sorry for something. Perfect example, we were coming home last night from Sadell's event and we were having, I forgot, something happened in the car. Val expressed herself and I overreacted. Yeah, I got defensive, and I'm like, blah, blah. And I thought about it as I went outside. Again, that's that ability to kind of rehash what you just heard and ask, was your response really appropriate? So I came back in, hey, babe, listen, I'm sorry that I overreacted. This is what happened. I don't want to react like that. So that's still a struggle for me, overreacting sometimes. But that's after all these years of being together. You hear stuff that ain't there no more.
Yeah, no, you hear.
Right.
And I think that's huge. And I mean, that is a sign of real growth on your part. And I even last night when he came and apologized, I appreciated that. Because there was a time years ago in our relationship when that would never have happened. It would never have happened. But I truly believe that we in a relationship should always allow room for our partners to grow and show up differently in the relationship and not hold each other hostage to how we used to be. Right. Sometimes couples will say that, even when I'm counseling couples sometimes, and the one of the spouses will say something and the other will say, he ain't gonna do that, she ain't gonna do that. And I said, okay, well, let's just rephrase that. Maybe they didn't do it in the past, but going forward, give them an opportunity to show up differently. So that was really good thing that happened last night. And I appreciate that, baby Kate.
My question would be, what does grace look like, right? In terms of when someone has to be apologetic all the time. And I constantly tell people about what grace look like for you. You want to be patient with you, especially in a marriage. Right? Because y'all got forever in a day, and to the Lord, you want to have your partner grace that they have some form of accountability, but sometimes being sorry all the time becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she's just recently started apologizing to me for some of the things that she always feels that she was right about, but then she said, she had to stop and think about it and then come back to me and to apologize, because sometimes, I'll just accept it and, just move on, because I'm not an arguer. I really don't like to argue. But when you take me to a point where it really comes out, all that frustration comes out, it comes out at one time. And then when you get it at one time, you're getting it all. And then, and like Val, like y'all's experience recently, she, something happened and I just went bananas. I think, what I was? And this is crazy. I was watching a basketball game. It was the Knicks game, and they were playing somebody, and Jalen Brunson fouled somebody with like 2 seconds left in the game. When the
I saw
that game. And she was standing right next to me, and she was like asking for the car keys. And I was like really into this game, and she just kept going at me. Where's the car keys? Where's the car keys? And I was like, oh my gosh, she can't wait 2 seconds to ask that question. And when she kept going, and I just went bananas. I exploded, and then she knows I don't do that. And then I exploded on her, and I was like, you could not wait 2 seconds to wait and say, okay, she know how I watch the games. And you can wait those 2 seconds, say, okay, he's watching the game, let me just stop and then let him watch the game, and then I'll get the car keys. It wasn't like, it was something that was important. And
the game was important.
Yeah, the game was more important than the car keys at that time.
At that moment, yeah.
Yeah, and then afterwards, you know, I you know, because I have a big house, so she went upstairs, closed the bedroom door. I went down to my cave area in the basement, and you know, the big thing in a relationship is that space is a big thing. When you have space, because if you live in an apartment, it's hard to get away from each other to have that moment to think. You know what I'm saying?
Not an hour.
Not in this one.
Right. And to revisit the issue later. You know, after all the tempers calm down and everything's calmed down, and then she calmed down, and then you know we talked about it and resolved the issue. And I made it the point is that from watching the game, you know, if it's not that important, just hold off until it's over, and then we deal with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a black one.
Yeah. One thing I will say,
and I did apologize. Yeah, we both apologized.
Yeah. One thing I will say, because I heard you, Jimmy, if I understood you correctly, you indicated that sometimes you won't say anything in the moment and another something will happen and you won't say anything in that moment, and then 4 or 5 moments will occur, and then eventually everything will come out at one time. Yeah, I hear that. But that's something I think that it might help to facilitate not having that big blow up if something is said in that moment, as opposed to, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 things adding on.
Not at the Knicks game. not with the Knicks. The Knicks and the Jets.
No,
when they all leave me alone.
Yeah, I don't mean in that particular situation, but I mean just in general.
Yeah,
you know, to say something in the moment.
We do communicate a lot like that. We do talk about things after the situations has passed over and everything. When we talk about it, and that's how we get past a lot of things. It's because we do talk. You know, so we are great.
And sometimes you need that space.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need some distance between whatever the incident is, and you know, to have a conversation about it. So it's not an argument, but a conversation.
And as long as, before I go to the second question on the end of that, as long as one person says, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna step away for a few minutes. We'll talk when I come back," as opposed to just walking away and maybe not saying anything. And that was a big issue for me. I'm mad. I'm just walking. Now, you know what? I need 10 minutes, or I need an hour, or like you said, Jimmy, I'll come back to you after the game and we can talk about what we need to talk about.
Yes.
But anyway, maintaining individuality within a relationship can sometimes be challenging. How do you ensure that you both have the space to grow as individuals while growing together as a couple? That's a good one. We kind of hit some of the points there.
That's a real good one. I'm not a clingy person. So if Jimmy wants to go out with his friends or go away with his friends, I'm all for it. All for it. You know, I have no problems with that.
I had to teach you that too.
However, we do make it a point to time together, you know, to connect. Right now, we're in season of elder care with our parents. So a lot of times we don't see each other. You know, like a whole weekend we might not see each other, or 4 days we might not really see each other. We're just in passing. You know, he's going to his mom's, I'm going to my mom, and going back and forth. Hi, babe, how you doing? Dinner, something like that. However, when that happens, we definitely make a point to connect with one another. You know, sit down, have a conversation, communication again. How you doing? How you feeling? You know, what's going on? So and so this happened. So and so happened. So having individuality in a marriage right now, in the season that we're in now, it's good. It's good because we're not clinging on to each other. We know we have responsibilities. We know these responsibilities, we have to do it. So that trust is there, that individuality is there, but we do definitely make it a point to reconnect with one another and go out.
And this communication is at all times, you know. know, we talk about, you know, hey, listen, you cool. I'll let you know way in advance that what I'm doing. I'll give you a weekly schedule, because once you give a weekly schedule, you already know this person's doing this week and this is going on and then this is going on this day and this and day. Yeah, that helps out a lot.
Yeah, there's no shock factors.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, there's no shock factors. Like, oh my God, you didn't tell me, you know, you had to go here or whatever.
Or you were going out, you know, or anything like that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Rockin' Toya?
Well, we have a lot of mutual friends, and I love to host. So, you know, we constantly have events here. However, we do have our own interests. Like our interests are completely opposite of one another.
Yeah.
Like I love plants. I love to read. I love the outdoors. He's into, you know, cars and other things. Even our movie choices, like they're completely different. You know, we each have our own separate space at home. Even the kids, like sometimes if I don't go check on them,
you won't hear from them.
I won't hear from them. Like I literally have to check on everyone in the house because we all like have our own separate space and whatever. But we do have date night by ourselves. You know, we take care, you know, self-care, things like that. With our church family, we have events. We each have ministries that we belong to our church, you know, his brotherhood, you know, my thing. So, you know, we make sure that we continue our separate interests, but we also still do things together. Like it had like, and we do have a calendar. It's a big calendar on our wall, and everything goes in that calendar. Us, the kids going out, I'm going out, whatever it is. So everyone knows everyone's schedule.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Because that individuality piece, I believe, is very important because it helps you to add content to the relationship that would not otherwise be there if you didn't have some outside interest or something of your own going on that now, you know, we can have conversations about. And it also helps to avoid what Elaine mentioned about being clingy, because you don't become so totally enmeshed or codependent. And you eliminate that when you do have some separate interests. Yeah, baby.
It just helps to both either person not losing themselves and just feeling lost. And not that the relationship is not important, of course it is. But there's that importance for yourself. You know, you don't want to feel like you're walking around aimless because you don't know what to do with yourself. You have no other interests except your spouse. Again, your spouse is important, but you still need those outside interests. Because those few times I might go bowling or go hang out, you know, it just feels nice. I feel important.
I think more importantly for me being a young couple, one of the things that we don't have is like we don't beat each other down when the other person is out. Like I'm not calling. Like she said, I'm out with the girls. All right, baby, see you later. Bye bye. And she don't call. You know, like we'll call, check in, be like, hey, babe, I'm all right. Blah blah blah. But there are no insecurities here.
No.
Like I fully trust. He fully trusts me, and so we don't have those issues where if I'm out and about, I got to worry about if she's, you know, mad. By the time I get home, sometimes I may get home. The times that I do go out nowadays, if I get home 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock, which is a rarity, she's not mad. No, she's like, oh, he had a great time. She's like, finally, I got the room.
Right. Well, you know what? Sometimes they need that space too. When you do go out, they want to be. They need that space by themselves too. They want to feel they have the house to themselves. They can do whatever they want. They can do this.
Like, bye.
Yeah, I think that is a great sign of a healthy relationship when couples can have their own time and their own space without their partner just on them like white on rice. And I gotta say, that used to be an issue in our relationship because I had so many insecurities. And I used to be on his behind like white on rice. That boy couldn't hardly fart unless I was.
Let me tell y'all something. I'd go to work.
Oh Lord.
And on the way home, if I looked at my watch, and it was maybe 3 or 5 minutes later than I normally should get home, I was stressing because I know she's like,
Yeah.
Nobody
needs that. You don't need that. Like, you don't want that feeling.
That's probably when my stomach ulcer started all these years.
You don't want that feeling. No.
And I still have, but that was really an issue. And I'm not saying those behaviors didn't contribute to other stuff that happened in our lives or that I did, because I still had a choice. But it was a challenge to know I'm coming home and wonder when I'm going to face, because, I'm 10 minutes late or something like that. Or even sometimes, like I said, back then we were living, first place in Seven Hagen. That was the first place we lived. The weekend's coming. And, I want my time. I'm forced to park bound. But I got to come up with
some story,
all kind of stuff. I'm going to
Right. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way.
I would say you can come with me. I didn't want to, but I felt, but at that point, even though I didn't realize it then, it would have caused less stress for her, but more for me, because I'm just going to hang out with the fellas. I don't want you brought your act with you or whatever.
Yeah.
But those were challenging times in our marriage. Again, like Val said, we brought so many so much baggage that, again, because we didn't have that communication and we didn't talk about it, it compounded other issues. Things that should have been minor became bigger, major, because there were those other issues we just kind of didn't want to talk about. Didn't know how to talk. We're 20. We don't know how to talk about all this stuff.
Right. That's right.
It was taboo. Just, brush it away. Don't talk about it. But unfortunately, you know how you brush dust away, but you look around, that dust come back, stuff come back.
Stuff absolutely comes back. I mean, I can look back on it now in retrospect, having healed from some of the trauma that I experienced that resulted in such brokenness back then that caused all of that angst in our relationship. I can look back on it now and I say, oh my God, you know what? That's why I call our marriage something the Lord made, because it's a wonder that we are together. It's only by the grace of God that we are still sitting together, because all of the stuff that we went through, it was a mess. But I can say now, he tell me he going to Brooklyn to go to the play. Bye. And then he talking about, well, you ain't going to check on me.
Yeah, right.
You don't care that I made it to Brooklyn. Okay, yeah, I care, but I'm over here with my Kindle, with my glass of wine. I'm having a good time. You in Brooklyn.
See? Yeah, she used to, I like to go to Atlantic City, right? Back in the day, I used to like to go to Atlantic City. So she was like, well, why, Elaine, why you didn't call me when you got there? Why you didn't call me? It's 3 o'clock and you didn't call me and say you made it there safely and stuff like that. So I had to break it down 2 ways. I broke it down to her. The first time we went to Atlantic City together, I took her out. One day we drove to Atlantic City, had lunch and everything like that. And I walked around the casino and everything. And I said, honey, what do you see in here? Like that, She said, oh, I see people gambling and everything like that. I said, but you don't see no windows, right? She said, oh, yeah, that's right. I said, you don't see no clocks? She said, yeah, that's right. You see that little thing on the wall? There's like a little box on the wall right there. That's to prevent people from using their phones inside the casino. So now you see why I don't call you. I don't, I don't know what time it is because I'm in a casino. I don't know if it's night or day. So that's why I never called. And that's not what, and so she had to see it for herself to understand why.
Yeah, that was a big thing because Jimmy is a gambler. You know, he loves to gamble, and that's his way or one way to relax.
Right.
And I didn't understand that. I didn't come from gambling. I don't know. I don't know the criteria for gambling. You were supposed to call. Like, who comes in like 3-4 in the morning from gambling? Like, no way. You're right. You're right. So it wasn't until later on that I learned that this was a form of relaxation for Jimmy, and my mom had to kind of like point that out. She had told me, Elaine, you got to remember, Jimmy is dealing with New York City crime. Right. So this is one form of way that he relaxed. So you have to allow him to have an out. Right. He has to have an out. And right there with my mom, words of wisdom, it instantly clicked. And from then on, I was like, okay, bye. You want me to iron your shirt? Okay, you going? All right.
and Frank, like you said earlier, Frank, when you was nervous about 2 or 3 minutes coming in the house late, she didn't understand. Sometimes I came home late from work, right? And when I came home late from work, I'm stressed out already from dealing with them criminals all day. And then the first thing she want to do is argue with me about when I'm late, instead of saying, honey, I know you had a rough day. You hungry, honey? You did this. But she used to be like, and I'd be like, oh, I'm going from them to her.
I think that's a lesson that we have to learn as women, especially Black women married to Black men, who already are dealing with a whole lot of stuff out in the world. When they come home, it should be a place of absolute peace and enjoyment. They should look forward to coming home. This should be the soft place to land when the world has beat them up and chewed them up and spit them out. So I think it's something that we as women have to learn, because we don't go into marriage. I mean, Toya probably did, because you guys got married. You were a little bit older when you guys got married than we were. We were in our early 20s when we all got married. We ain't know nothing about that. We just know he's supposed to be home. He get off at 5 o'clock. It's a 30-minute commute. He's supposed to be home at 5:30.
I didn't get that at all. Like Toya actually is the first woman that I ever met who actually showed me what peace of mind was supposed to be. So when I would come home, like, she didn't bombard me with a bunch of stuff or what's going on with the kids or nothing. Like, I just go in the room, relax myself. She asked me if I want something to drink. Then she would just like, all right, babe. She'd go into another room. I had time to, relax, take a shower, come back before it's dinner. And then after that, we just had a conversation about what the day looked like. And that was every day.
Yeah.
And so it allowed me to value, it's critical to value somebody who values you.
Right.
Yes.
And so when she showed me what peace looked like, I had to show her what security looked like.
Absolutely.
That's good.
That's real good.
That's what really made our relationship that solid, because I know what peace of mind looks like. And so when I hear people who don't have it, I'm like, my wife.
And I think women pretty much, like you just said, really want that sense of security, and that's what they want. They love the security of being around you and with you too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love peace of mind and everything that surrounds it. So is even more critical if you're with somebody in marriage and in love. Got to bring that to you, who learns you. See, it's a different. Everybody has their version of peace.
Right.
Keep that in mind. So what peace looks like to someone may not look like to someone else. You got to have your partner to let them know what peace looks like.
I can agree with that. I learned this early on. I mean, I know we're talking about relationships, but my mom worked for NYPD, and she used to come home just stressed, and I saw that at a young age. So I'm just like, I would keep my distance. I would make sure, like, okay, let her cool down. Let me let her, just have a moment for herself. Let me make sure, like, and I used to cook young, because my mom was a single parent. My father passed away when I was really young. So, helping her out. But, like my husband said, you really have to know your person. And peace is not just for the man. The peace is for both people in a relationship.
Yes.
You have to give each other the version of peace that person needs, not your version.
That's good.
Amen.
You got to know your person and the version of peace that's peace for them.
Yes.
Not what I think is peace for him, but what he says is peace for him.
Absolutely.
And then act accordingly.
Absolutely.
You know what? That's right in line with the love languages and loving someone according to what speaks love to them. It's you're absolutely right, Toya. The same thing applies for peace.
Absolutely.
So I'm fixing to disrupt some peace right now because I want to talk about submission. And for some women,
8 minutes.
We got 8 minutes.
I got 8 minutes.
Oh.
I don't know.
9 minutes. 9 minutes.
9 minutes. 9 minutes.
I'm afraid we already know the minutes got a rocky start, so
right?
You ain't got to rush.
Exactly.
Because for some women, submission is like a cuss word. So I'm curious to know, from you all's perspective, what is submission to you, and for the brothers, what about respect?
So this is.
I'm going to start this. I had to learn the hard way of submitting to the man that God has chosen for you. Because I was in relationships before, and I thought that I was, supposed to, let them lead, and they were the wrong men, like completely, totally the wrong man. And, finding my husband now, and, the word submission is completely different, because me submitting to him, I know that he's going to lead in the right way. And he's not taking my submission as a way to disrespect me or to keep me down or to make me do whatever he wants to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
I feel that you can submit to your husband or to your man as long as he's the one that God chose for you. And, it works.
Yeah. Totally agree. I don't have a problem with that word at all.
Right.
One, because that's, what God says, a woman should submit unto her husband, and also the husband unto the wife. However, Jimmy has showed me early on that he was worthy of being submitted to.
Absolutely.
To take charge, to pay bills. I never really I never really worry about our well-being at all. Early on, that happened early on. So submission for me early on in our marriage wasn't a problem, because he demonstrated what it is to be a leader and to be a head of household. And I felt very comfortable about, submitting to him. Now, in terms of like ideas and stuff like that, sometimes our ideas might conflict with each other. But I'll let him go. I'll let him lead with his idea first to see if that idea is going to work. He always leads, in this household, always. And I don't have a problem with that word submission at all, because of the partner that I have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that's so good. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rob.
So I'm going to say, I encourage a lot of women today, a lot of couples today, get you a pastor. Get you a man of God who can break down what the word of God says. Because listening to TikTok and all these women who are single lie to you about what submission is supposed to be it's terrible. And it's put so many women in a position that when they finally meet a man who's capable of leading, they hear the word submission, and automatically it's like,
I don't need a man.
I don't need this, and I don't need that. And
right.
That's happening with a lot of young people too nowadays.
That's what I'm talking about.
Young people are doing that. Young women, they're not finding the right guys because they feel they don't need them no more, or they don't need them, and which is not supposed to be.
And unfortunately, a lot of women, their pickers is off. The men that they're picking don't fall into that category of someone who is demonstrating the characteristics of a real man, who makes it easy to submit to and to follow, and to follow his leadership. So, you know, because I heard someone say the other day about, well, he's not like men back in the day, so I don't have to be like the woman back in the day. Well, you picked him. This is the man that you selected. You didn't have to choose that particular one. You could have chosen someone else. So I think it's the selection process is part of it as well. But we've got to show up in a manner that will attract what we say we are looking for in a mate.
But how do you answer this question? This could be a question maybe for another show, but is there supposed to be a quote unquote time frame? Because you can meet someone, he doesn't have those qualities right away. He's still learning how to navigate things, and he might become that person you're looking for, you know, down the line.
Actually, Val did have this question before, and
that's why. Potential. Okay, because
falling in love with potential, and should you do it or not? And you know, my answer is no. I'm not.
Well, I think here's the thing: if you are going to get with someone who I describe as a Build-A-Bear man, who you say has potential, you have to be prepared for the possibility that potential will not be realized, and decide and determine what are you going to do if it's not.
I think what we discussed is during the dating phase, you probably have in your mind a time frame where these questions could be answered. If that potential, no, you say
but I mean, you may decide to go ahead and marry this Build-A-Bear man.
Okay.
It might be realized, but most of the time it's not realized with you. You build him up, and then you know what?
Yeah, but we also discussed, what does character look like? Character is a major factor in a Build-A-Bear man, right? Because I believe one of the quotes that I got was from Minister Louis Farrakhan, where he said, a man can't be a man without the right woman in his life. And he said, what do I mean by that? He said it takes a woman to test a man to see if he is a man. And I really understood what he meant, because you know, a woman is going to put you in position. She's going to test you on everything you say you are.
Exactly.
Or she's going to see if you measure up to who you say you're going to be. Right? And so that's the challenge. That's a challenge for a lot of men. If you say you want to be this person, all right, show me.
Right. Because that's what counts, not what he says, but what he does. And I think too often women follow behind what a man says, and they're not necessarily looking at the behavior and the character and that sort of thing. Okay, Frank just wrote down time. So
you didn't have to blow me away.
Production crew.
We operate from a place of transparency here at Marriage
We ain't got to share that with them.
We can do another question. We can do another question. It's only the first quarter.
I told them they got a late start.
Okay. All right.
This is a late start team.
Okay.
So I want to see if Elaine and Jimmy have any input or feedback on what we were just talking about before I answer the last question. My husband.
Character, I totally agree. Character, it's the little things that, and women are watchers. We watch. Right. You know, we hear what you're saying, but we're looking at your actions, and we're very quiet about that, because we're judging at that point. We're determining if this is the right person for me, you know. So if you see that the person has, you know, those character traits that, you know, it's a possibility that he can work up to being that, you know, person, then, you know, patience, I guess you have to fold patience in. But it's definitely character. Character is so key. I totally agree with that.
It matters a lot.
Consistency is also a very big a lot of times people will say, I do this, I do that. All right. It takes time for consistency.
Right.
So that's how you know, that's how you measure a man, ladies. You have consistency, you have character, and you have time.
And your word.
Well, I have to say that, and I'm strictly talking to younger people now, is that it also becomes a big thing with the household. When you grow up in a single family household, right, with without a father in your house, you don't have anything to feed off of, or to look at, or to compare in what you're looking for as a woman. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of women, they see their father and how their father treat their mother, and how he is with her. You know, they look for men like that, you know, like my dad, you know, and men look like that for women. You know, did my dad treat my mother this way? You know, I want to treat my mother I want to treat my woman like my dad treats my mother. You know, and I think that, you know, that's a big thing like too. A reference, it's a reference point, because a lot of younger people are growing up in single family households, and these mothers, because they were in bad relationships and stuff like that, and they end up having a separation, and they, you don't need a man, I don't need a man, and this and that. So the kids grow up that way. They grow up to be like, okay, I don't need this, I don't need a man, you know, I can do this on my own. My mother did it on her own, you know, and that's not cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's very good. I want to piggyback on something that Toya said a few minutes ago about potential being realized. It may not be with the one partner who got with the individual with the potential, but the potential may be realized with someone else. Right. You know, I'm gonna tell y'all something, because we operate from a place of transparency here at Marriage Beyond the Breach.
I don't know.
So real, because you know, a lot of people, anyone who's watching and has watched for a while, they know that we had issues with infidelity in our marriage. Okay, it's no secret. We talk about it openly because we are on the other side of that, and so we can talk about it. So
where you going?
No, hold on, just listen.
But when you were younger, you guys were younger.
Right.
We were younger, and one of the things I would say to myself,
hold on. Thank you, Jimmy, for saying I was younger, because I was a little older too.
Right, you're younger, and you learn from your mistakes.
We learn,
and that's what got you where you are today. It's from your mistakes.
Sooner or later.
Yeah, you learn.
So, anywho, there were times when I would say, you know something, because we were young, and neither one of us really knew a whole lot of things, but we were growing and we were learning as we go. And I said, I'll be daggone if I'm going to put all this into this man and I'm going to let that ever have him. Oh, heck to the no. It ain't going down like that. Right. It ain't going down like that, because, listen, if he is going to realize this potential from all the years that we have grown together, then it's going to be realized right here. Not with somebody else. So, yeah.
Damn, if you'd have told me that while, I wouldn't have came home as soon as I
did. She could have did the show by herself tonight, Frank. She could have did the show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Sister Kayla said some people learn from their mistakes, others not so much. And sometimes it takes a while to learn from a mistake, you know, because learning is a process. Some of us get it the first time, some get it the second time, some might not get it to the fourth or fifth time. But the question is, are they going to get it at some point and learn from it and no longer repeat some of those same mistakes that they made in the past? You know, only time will tell. Really, only time will tell.
All I know is, like I said at the beginning of the show, like, I just want peace of mind and everything that it looks like. So anything that is not, I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
So,
you had a peace of mind, you give her the world, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, peace of mind requires, you know, certain disciplines, and you know, I believe I told my wife in our vows, like, you're never gonna have a woman come to you as a woman. I'm just not interested in that. You know what I'm saying? We want peace. That's why we created peace in our house, and I want it to stay that way.
And you'll get and she'll get the world because you have peace. And if you have peace, you can provide, and you can be the man that she wants you to be because you have peace. You know, when you have turmoil in your household all the time, it's like, oh, do I want to go through this? Do I want to go home? Right. Let me stay out a little longer because I know I'm gonna get it when I get home, so I might as well enjoy this. You know.
Absolutely.
We definitely operate that in this house. We would never go hungry. And we would be on the street.
I hear you. Frank is over here. His hands are on the desk doing like this. Okay. So, for those who are watching, we will have a part 2 because there's a lot more to talk about and unpack. And I definitely want to have the other couple who was supposed to be with us tonight, Sister Shakitra. So if you can keep her and her family in prayer because her mom passed away, and just be on the lookout for a date. I'm going to come up with a date that works for all couples involved, and we will have Healthy Relationships Part 2. Can't do it next week because I have actually Dr. Page is going to be on next week, Elaine.
Oh, okay, great.
Going to be on talking about women's health and menopause and everything dealing with women's health. So come back next week and listen. Don't stay away, brothers, because we're talking about women's health. Because as a man, it helps to know your woman. Part of knowing your woman is to know her body and to have some information regarding women's health. So that will be our topic on next week. Thank you all. And again, if you have not already done so, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Marriage Beyond the Breach. Marriage Beyond the Breach on Instagram, Marriage Beyond the Breach on Facebook. Elaine has Beauty for Ashes on Facebook. That's a Facebook group. It's Beauty for Ashes. Toya, her is
Yumdacity.
catering is Yumdacity. It's underneath her name. And Toya's on Facebook and Instagram as well. And Rock, his business is, I can't see it. My print is too small.
Rockland. Life coaching.
So again, thank you all for being here.
Make
sure you show up again next week. And then just FYI, see, we might would have been here just a little bit longer, but I am submitting to the wishes of my husband. So, good night, y'all. I'll see you guys next time.
See you guys. Nice meeting.